Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Wednesday, the 24th of January. It is game day. I have loved to have said that many weeks ago, but we're back with Rangers action. Of course, we had the game at the weekend against Dumbarton, but the Premiership action gets back underway this evening as Rangers head over to Leith to take on Hibs at Easter Road. To look ahead to the game, I'm delighted to say we're joined by Stevie Clifford for the first time this week. How are we doing, Stevie?
Good, thank you, mate. I hope everyone is well this morning. Game day I'm looking forward to it tonight. It feels like it's a big game.
Certainly does. Rangers looking to close the gap at the top of the Premiership table. Just before we look ahead to that game and all the latest transfer news, quick word for our podcast sponsors. You can see on your screen if you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and now Instagram. We were on live for the MPH Group. If you're wanting some home improvements or even a new boiler, then these are the guys to call. The all-important links are in the description below. Right, where should we start, Stevie? I think we'll begin, before we look ahead to that game against Hibs this evening, we'll talk transfers. Philippe Clement conducted his pre-Hibs press conference yesterday, and as expected, remaining tight-lipped on the incoming Mohamed Diomande. We believe he is close to signing that deal with Rangers. Of course, Storm Isha certainly delayed his flight, making his way towards Glasgow. But all being well, he'll sign a deal with the Rangers worth £4.5 million. Rangers splashing out on the Ivory Coast midfielder, 22-year-old from Nordsjælland. Incidentally, this is what Clement had to say when he was asked, can you clear up where you are with Diomande? No, I don't speak about any rumours. There have been how many? 50 names already in the last couple of weeks. I can say we're not interested in all of those players. So if you start to talk about one rumour, you need to talk about the other rumour. And then I'm only busy with that and not making training anymore or looking at players, talking with players or talking with my own players. So I'm doing a different job. So I never do that. That is the best way. Stevie, Diomande, happy he's coming in?
Yeah, he seems like an interesting kind of signing, isn't he? When you go and get somebody with his profile and with his kind of credentials, I suppose, then yeah, it's an exciting one. It's a lot of money for us to spend. I think it's kind of normal fees, Derek, where we should be looking, but because of what's happened the last couple of years and us maybe not getting these type of transfers right, it feels like it's a big one for us. So there's an air of excitement around it. So I'm looking forward to it. He seems like, I actually know. Here comes the Football Manager stuff, Derek. But I actually know him from that. As soon as it was mentioned,
he's good on that, apparently.
This boy's dynamite on there. So he's an instant win, and you sell him on for 30 million every time. So I think that that's obviously got to be our strategy here. But it was interesting. Do you know, I really enjoyed his press conference yesterday. I actually commented on it on social media. He was so good with dealing with the questions, Philippe Clement. He doesn't change his stance. It's just everything is exactly the same. He's an absolute dream for the club in terms of, I don't know if you noticed, he was asked about the transfers. He says, I'm not going to speculate. And then somebody went at him again and he said, that's just the same question, asked differently. And then they asked him on the budget quite sneakily. And he says, well, I'm never going to answer that. And he was great. Thought it was really, really good the way he dealt with it. So I think we've got somebody that's really professional in dealing with those sort of questions. And I really enjoyed watching that. But aside of the player, what do we know about him? We know that he's a left-sided, maybe a number 8, can play as a 10 as well, but a number 8, he likes to fill in the kind of half-void positions, which we've missed on that left-hand side. And this is what I wanted to speak about, Derek, a wee bit, because on Saturday against Dumbarton, I thought that Cantwell and Tavernier linked up really well on the right-hand side, and there was always McCausland in front of them. So we more or less created an overload, and Cantwell played in those wee kind of half spaces. Now, we've not naturally had that on the left-hand side since Kamara and Aribo kind of filled in out there. Now, Kamara was always really good at it, especially on the European run of providing an overload. So when they were breaking down Barisic and Kent, he was always there to kind of provide that. So I thought that was interesting. I think that Diomande's got this same kind of profile. I was reading Joshua's stuff and his analytics and kind of stats, and Joshua shows you where he likes to play and stuff like that. And that's what I took from that. So that's well worth a read for people that are wanting to know what he's like. And and see what sort of player we're potentially getting in. So that was an interesting one. Of course, he can score goals, he can assist. He's not had a best 6 months, but he's obviously had an injury, and then he had a bit of an illness as well. So he'll be coming to us. We'll be getting him back up to speed, and then he'll be I'm sure that if we're paying that kind of money, Derek, for anyone, he's going to be a starter. So it's certainly going to be an interesting. It adds a wee bit of quality, which I think we've needed in the middle as well. We don't have anyone, Derek, that can really hold on to possession and really, when the press is on and things, and break the press and kind of go forward from the midfield. It kind of, we've spoke about it for a few months now. I think that it all kind of breaks down a wee bit towards the final third. So it's going to be interesting to see just how much this boy can improve that. But, any signing for us, spending that kind of money, that kind of profile, I think it's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, and it's the first time I think someone mentioned on a show yesterday, first time Rangers are really investing in that midfield area in terms of a large transfer fee being spent on it. I think we've been crying out for it for some time. Rico Raskin, of course, came in last season, but he seems to have a bit about him, this boy. Good morning to my dad who's tuning in. He says, good morning, gents. So good to have him tuning in on this Wednesday morning.
The legend, Henry. I think he's my biggest fan, Derek, isn't he? So he's what a man he is. Good morning, Henry. I hope you're well.
That'll make his day, Stevie. There's no doubt about it. We'll look forward to Diomande signing. He won't be obviously available for this evening. Another player who won't be coming, Chris, and our man, Stevie, and Chris was taking it in the neck on social media last night. How you pronounce it? Guy Smal from FC20. Now, there were reports you would have seen yesterday suggesting Rangers had approached the 26-year-old who is out of contract at the Eredivisie club in the summer. However, Chris was quick to knock those rumours down. He then received a barrage of abuse online, shall we say. I loved the comment. Someone says, cheers, son's crying now. He was getting in the neck yesterday, Stevie. God help him, but that is not a move that's going to materialise.
It's quite funny because Chris and I obviously speak quite a lot. And it was funny when the manager mentioned every time his phone goes, it's Neil Coppin. Every time my phone goes, it's Chris, especially during the transfer window. So me and him were having a right laugh about this. And I said, you put this out, you know what's going to happen. And sure enough, it didn't disappoint. So there was a lot of... Chris and I are going to Easter Road tonight together, Derek. So I was going to play a fun game in the car with him while he's driving, of just reading all the tweets back to him. So... I'm pretty sure that I'll be getting chucked out by the services on the way to Edinburgh tonight. But Chris is a good lad, obviously he's got to go and ask the question. I think that the speculation had ramped up quite a bit last night. A lot of the Dutch sites, prominent Dutch sites, I think, had reported that we had made moves and things like that. So it seemed like there was an opportunity. Chris has then got to ask the question. The club either deny, no comment, or just completely patch it.
Yep.
They came straight back saying no interest at all. So Chris is in duty bound to go and put that out there. So, it is what it is. He can only tell you what the club say and only report back on that. But it was one of those ones where, 6 o'clock, these rumours started. So by 7, everybody had kind of went away and researched and watched the highlights and YouTube reels. And then by 7:30, everybody had talked itself into this boy being a good signing. And then in swoops Chris with the big news. So... yeah, it was quite amusing. There was a lot of funny GIF replies and things like that as well. My favourite Roy Hodgson one. So there was a lot of good ones. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? We're going to be, as the manager says, we're going to be linked with so many names, and you can only kind of put out there with what you have. But I think he redeemed himself with the news that Diamande's due to fly in today. So it is what it is. Let's hope the boy arrives and then we can get that tied up the next couple of days, weather permitting. I think the weather's okay now, but all going well. Hopefully he arrives today and then we can get that one in the bag the next couple of days and hopefully the club can announce it, because that's a big one for us, and then we'll see what goes. I still think, Derek, and I think judging by all the comments last night, I think everyone's priority and what everyone's thinking is a striker. But with the injury news yesterday, I wondered if a winger that was maybe as essential for some people as certainly went right up there now for me, because Sima if he's torn his thigh or whatever he's done, that could potentially be 3 months, 4 months, or the season.
Yeah.
We might be lucky with it, but this is Rangers, so probably by the time he gets to our training ground, his leg will have fallen off. So in our luck. So I don't expect good news there. So we'll need to see what the manager's saying later about that. Kieran Dowell being injured and potentially long time sounds like he could be out for the season.
Yeah.
Kamar Roof 2-3 months. Danilo, manager says it's not to the end of the season. So we are short up there. There's a real chance for Rangers to go and strengthen. If they don't, could they maybe get somebody like Zach Lovelace in? He's a couple of weeks away from being fit, I believe, as well, judging by what the BT manager David McCallum said just before Christmas time in his interview. So there's a lot of questions there. I was intrigued, though. I thought this was really interesting, Derek, when the manager was asked yesterday, would he be happy if Diomande was the only player that they got in? And he said no, because that's not what our strategy is, and it's not where the club are aligned to do and what we all want to do. I thought that was very interesting. He's more or less telling you there that he's not going to be the only business. So that's an exciting one. There's a few positions. I think, if you asked everybody watching this morning, some would say left back, some would say a winger, some would say a striker. So we've got business to be done, Derek, I think, in the next, what we on, we're about a week, maybe 8-9 days, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. And the manager's comments certainly give me hope to the fact that there might be a few exciting ones coming in, because nobody knew anything about Mohamed Diomande being a possible target until the Danish kind of press broke it out there. And that's quite kind of hopeful for me as well, because maybe there's a few more deals going on that we just don't know about. So I think there's plenty of excitement to come, but it all starts with tonight. And this is where, at the end of the day, all the people coming in, signing or whatever, is not going to matter if we're not doing the business on the night. So tonight feels like a very good one. It's obviously the chance to close the gap and things as well.
Yeah, vital that Rangers get all 3 points. Just on that injury to Abdallah Sima, Philip Clement says, is there an update? He was asked. He says, no, not yet. It's not that I want to keep away from you guys. I expect to have more news today, at least tomorrow, from my medical staff. I always listen to them and not to other people. Ask me this question after the game, and then I'll give an assessment about that. I will have the information. I am 99% sure. If I have the information clearly, I will give it. Also, he was then asked, is there any indication if it is short-term or long-term? It will be long-term. That is why I want to also have the right information. He was then asked as well, will Sima do his rehabilitation at Rangers or go back to his parent club at Brighton? That is things to discuss if you have a good assessment about the injury and what to do. That is why I want to give the information when I have it and not too early. Of course, from the first moment when we were contacted, we directly contacted Brighton. We are working together in that way. What do you think the best course of action is with this, Stevie? If I'm Brighton, I made an analogy yesterday when I was on with Chris. Say, for example, Yanis Hadji gets injured long-term. Would you prefer him staying out there, or would you like him to come back and be treated at Rangers? What's your gut feeling on Sima?
Well, given our...
maybe keep him out there.
I'd probably just keep Hadji out in Alaves and ask if we can send Sima out there as well. But I would think that, if this is as bad as it might be, in which case, a 3-month kind of absence, that takes us up to, you're looking at him being out until the end of April. Then his rehab begins. We're a couple of weeks into May. Unfortunately, we might not see Abdallah Sima again. Certainly not this season. What happens with his long-term future, I'm not sure. I know that his agent was saying that he really likes it here and he wants to stay. Mm-hmm. That might just be a bog standard answer from an agent and things like that. I think that Abdallah Sima has got unfinished business here. I still think he's quite raw. Still think he's quite an unfinished product, but he's got so much potential. He's played very well for us. I think, 15 goals? So it depends, Derek, because, if it's only a strain, then you might be looking at 4 to 6 weeks. If it's a tear and a rip in his muscle, then it might be a lot longer. And to be clear, Derek, I'm no physiotherapist, as everybody knows. Can't even look after myself, but I'm just going by Football Manager kind of length that the guys are out on that, and that's where I take all my life kind of information from. So it might be a bad one. We just need to wait and see what the manager says. I would imagine that if it's worst case scenario, Brighton might just say, right, let's get him back. And then at the same time, the least they can do then is send up, Matoma or somebody like that, one of their really good players. I think fair's fair, Derek. You know what I mean?
I think that's a good shout, Stevie.
We'll take him. What's the name? Matoma, and they've got Enciso, haven't they? The wee Paraguayan winger, I think he is as well. So one of them up the road is absolutely fine. And I think, fair, Davy Weir, we gave you a great 3-4 years at the end of your career, so got to sort us out that way. Brighton aren't going for the title, we are, so
yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, we hold out for. Hopefully, we'll hear some positive news from the manager. I'm sure
we'll certainly ask him later. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll hear some positive news on that. Other interesting points from the press conference yesterday. I thought it was interesting his point about Alex Lowry, Stevie. He says he was asked, "Have you brought Alex Lowry back from Hearts?" No, I didn't bring him back. Hearts said they didn't want to keep him for the next 6 months. The clear plan with Alex is that we want him to go on loan again to get minutes. That is a plan with him, because in the squad that there is now, it is going to be difficult for him to take minutes. It was a clear plan for 1 year to take minutes and take experience and to become stronger, to come back in a good way, and then make an assessment in the summer. That is what we are trying to do now, and we will see who are the teams that are interested and what is the best place for him to go in the way we want to play football. Alex Lowry is going to go back out on loan, Stevie. What club? Who knows? This is make or break for him, isn't it? I spoke to Chris yesterday about it. I can't see him really pushing and staking a claim in that Rangers first team at this moment in time. He has to go out on loan somewhere and really impress and show that he has the minerals to play for Rangers. I have my doubts.
I think everybody will probably have their doubts because of how it's went for him.
Yeah,
I think that's possibly unlucky. He's went to Tynecastle. He's dealing with somebody like Stephen Naismith, who, maybe not the easiest person to get along with. He last kind of shown for Hearts. They were 2-0 up against Hibs. He got whacked off. It quickly becomes 2-2 and things like that. And he was really impressed that day. So it's a difficult one to really nail down why it hasn't worked for Alex Lowry. He needed to go there, I think, and get some permanent game time. But his next move is really critical. I've got no issues with Alex Lowry even taking a step down, maybe go down to the Championship. But he needs to play the next 3-4 months to the end of the season.
Championship.
Anywhere that gets some regular football, Derek. I think that's really important in his development, because if he goes to the Premier League, do you want him? Say he goes to
there's no chance he's going there. There's even the Championship. I think, I don't know that there are many clubs that would.
Whoever takes him, Derek. My point then is, whoever takes him, I want him to be playing every week.
Yes, exactly.
So where's he going to be guaranteed football? And that's why I was maybe mentioning that if he has to go down a level to play consistently and start every single game and get 90 minutes, and that's my only real concern. So that's why I kind of threw that out there. Understand maybe keeping him, at the best level we can get him. I understand that. But my real concern is that my priority for Alex Lowry is that he gets, consistent first team football over the next 3, 4, 5 months. So I know you were possibly mentioning like Leon King. I don't think Leon King's going anywhere. I think the manager wants him to stay.
Yeah.
There's talk that he's maybe being converted into a different type of player, possibly to play as a 6 or a right back and things like that. So there is plans there for Leon King. Adam Devine, I think we're in a position where he should be out on loan, maybe pushing and maybe going to see where he can play regular minutes again. So quite comfortable with those boys maybe going out on loan and seeing where it takes them. So Alex Lowry is a good lad. Like I've said this before, I've dealt with him plenty of times, and he's a really nice young guy. He's had some really difficult things to deal with so far. So I just hope that the next move he makes is one where he can really flourish, and then we can assess things in the summer and kind of go from there. But I thought Clement again, I thought he was funny when he was kind of answering that question. When he was like, I didn't take him back. Well, is he still there? No, they sent him back. So it's like, but let's hope that it's a good move for him.
Yeah, just off the back of that, some suggestions of where he should be sent out. Connor Davidson says send him to Airdrie under Rhys McCabe. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I've got to say he's doing a cracking job there at Airdrie.
Yeah,
Great result at the weekend.
That's the type of move that I was talking about, or I was thinking about, that somewhere where he can play good football and the right kind of football. I think Airdrie, though, are Airdrie not first division, not championship?
No, they're in the championship, Stevie.
Are they? Right, my apologies. So, I mean, they play, really kind of expansive football and pace and everything else. And he certainly likes to try and play it the right way. So even though he's taken a step down, what if he was guaranteed football for 3-4 months, starting every game, playing? Would you send him somewhere to like that? I think that's quite an interesting suggestion. And that's what I was kind of getting at before. So I wouldn't rule that out. It's a good shout.
I'd be all over. That's a good suggestion, Connor. Simon Murray says Big Dunk should take him to Cali. That'll surely bring him on. Ross Nielsen says Kilmarnock or Motherwell would be good for Lowry. And an interesting point from Denzel. He says Lowry needs a taste of European football, lower end of the top of the Belgian league, for example. Surely this can be done. Rangers will be looking at various options for Alex Lowry. It is essential to get this loan correct, and he takes his opportunity if he wants to stake a claim at Rangers next season. Another player that we all thought might be heading out in this window, Stevie, was Robbie McCrorie. The manager was asked about his situation in his press conference yesterday. Where do you see Robbie McCrorie getting his minutes? He said that it depends on his performances, it depends what he's doing in training, and then we'll make decisions on what is best for the group and for the club. He was then asked, on the back of that, you won't be putting him out on loan. No, how can you put now, with 9 days to go, a player on loan if you don't have another goalkeeper in? It was never the plan. It was clearly discussed with Robbie before the winter break. Also, he will be here, and he did good things. I gave him the chance to play this game, obviously talking about Dumbarton. I don't have to do that. And also the games against Hertha and Copenhagen to get the minutes. He is ready. We'll go on like that in the next 6 months, and then we can make a new evaluation. He's going to be here until the end of the season for sure. I'd imagine he might get a run out against Ayr United, Stevie. I'm not too sure where he will get at game time after that. If I'm Robbie McCrorie, I am concerned about my international prospects. I can't see him getting much minutes, I've got to say. What's your feeling on Robbie McCrorie? I can understand Clermont, incidentally, wanting to keep him around. He's a top quality number 2, but is that one that surprised you?
Not surprising. I don't think there was ever a possibility of Robbie McCrorie leaving. It doesn't really speak too much for John McLaughlin, though, does it? If John McLaughlin's there and he can't be trusted to be the second choice keeper for 3-4 months, Kieran Wright is also there, so there's plenty of goalkeeping cover. If we can't be in a position where Robbie McCrorie can go and play for a few months that the manager doesn't trust John, then I think it's clear that his days at Rangers are over come the summer when his contract runs out.
Yeah.
So there is a possibility that might have happened. It doesn't surprise me that he's staying. Robbie's a really excellent goalkeeper. I think it's just a real shame the way it's worked out for him. For us, selfishly as a club, Jack Butland is a superb number 1. You know, he's done everything we could possibly have asked from him. He's been flawless, actually, not only in his appearance but also his performances. So, Big Jack's a favourite, and it's just a shame for Robbie in terms of that being the case. But for him in his future, I would maybe be thinking about where his long-term future is. But it depends, football can change in a minute. What happens if Jack is subject to a bid in the summer? And Robbie then, a year down the line from some first-team football, is ready to come in. It all depends on what Rangers' plan is for him. I think he's only got until 2026, contract-wise. So he needs to think about his future. Absolutely, I get that. 26 is still very young for a goalkeeper. So 25, I think, maybe coming up for 26 this year, possibly. So he's got time on his side. But yeah, I would think that the manager's dealt with that question pretty well. We'll evaluate it again in the summer. But I would imagine that, there'll be a few changes in the goalkeeping position with regards to John McLaughlin maybe going out and things as well. So
yeah,
if Robbie McCrorie does go, the issue with that is that he's a homegrown first-team player. Scottish homegrown for the European quota is difficult as well. Would you have to go out and get somebody else? Yeah, I think you would have to replace him if he left. So it's a difficult one. But he's here for the moment. He's a very good backup. The way our injuries are going, you have to have quality where we can. So he needs to stay. It's just it's unfortunate for him, but it's a good position for us as a club to have him back up to Jack.
Yep. And there's an interesting point coming in here. First of all, a huge hello to Davey Reid, who's become a member on the YouTube channel. Good to have you on board, Davey. Hopefully you enjoy the content, the extra content that we produce on a weekly basis. So welcome aboard, buddy. Colin Cooper with a point here. He says, would you take 10 million for Butland, Stevie? I think the board would seriously have to look at that, Stevie. It's, of course, a player that was brought in for nothing in the summer. Of course, he's on hefty wages, but he's been, as you say, he's been outstanding since coming in the summertime. Anything upwards of that, I think the board would have to look at it.
I'm not emotionally ready to answer that question at 9:57 on game day about whether or not I would accept 10 million for Jack.
Yeah.
The honest answer is, of course, we would need to look at that kind of offer, but selfishly, Jack's doing brilliant. Let's just enjoy the fact he's here instead of, hoping that the bids come in or speculating about that. I'm not foreseeing Jack leave.
No.
He's been so good. He's so dependable. Touch wood, that continues. But you look at, for example, the goals that we lost in the last week, and even though, 2 of them are bounce games, they all come from crosses and things. And I don't remember too many conceded. And I'm not saying that they were the fault of Robbie McCrorie. They're just different goalkeepers. Jack allows the defence to push up a wee bit more and sit up a wee bit more because he'll come and be commanding. And I don't think he lets the defence off with too much. So, Borna was quite slack when he came on against Dumbarton. Thought he was quite lax. The boy went past him quite a few times. There was a real drop-off on that left-hand side. And I'm not so sure that Jack lets them away with that, because he's pretty vocal, Jack, as well, which you need. So, 10 million for his left glove, maybe, but
yeah,
I'm not for contemplating whether or not I'd want to get rid of him on this Wednesday morning, that's for sure.
Yeah, if Andre Onana's worth £47 million, then what is Jack Butland worth? That's all I'm saying with regards to that.
Worth 46 if he's worth that, I tell you.
Yeah. Double it, folks, if any clubs, any scouts watching. Right, let's get to tonight then, and Rangers' potential lineup. No Connor Goldson, of course, he is suspended. Still annoyed about that, incidentally. I thought it was really harsh. He picked up that yellow card at Parkhead. Who replaces him, Stevie, and in the team? There's some comments coming in. Peter MacArthur says tonight is a must-win. Will he play Matondo through the middle? No chance of that, I don't think. I think it's only be one of Dessers or Silva. And Mark with a point here, who's going to score the goals tonight? I think the onus is on Big Cyril to not fluff his lines. Easier said than done, but I think it'll be up to the big man to bang the goals out. And it's not only him, of course. You'll be looking at the likes of Ross McCausland, Todd Cantwell I've got in my predicted team as well. And I've got Fabio Silva over on that left-hand side as opposed to Robbie Matondo. Stevie, your team for tonight, what do you see happening?
Jack, Butland in goals, Tav, Suter, Balogun, Yilmaz. And I would say, just incidentally, on Yilmaz, he's really impressed me. And as I said, the drop-off from him going off, even just on Saturday against Dumbarton, I think was really eye-opening for me. So Borna doesn't get into that team. In the middle, Raskin, man at the moment, Lunny. I think Lunny's been absolutely brilliant. Spoke to him again on Saturday, just in the reception of Dumbarton. He doesn't give much away, but he's hopeful that contract is close. We know the manager said that he wants him renewed, and it's up to him in the club. So hopefully, from John's point of view, that's that. So midfield of them two. Cantwell, this is a big 3 or 4 months for him, Derek. He has to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tonight's the kind of night where we need Todd Cantwell to shine and produce the numbers and the assists and the goals that win us. So McCausland starts on the right. On the left, I think I would go Silva as well. I'm not sure Robbie Matondo. Robbie Matondo is an interesting one because he might be a good sub to come on.
Yeah, that's what I feel. Yep.
Matondo and right, maybe coming on from the wingers, and then up front, Dessers plays. And to be fair to the big man, the manager was right, stat-wise and things. He's done well, and his goal returns actually quite okay. He's on course for 20 goals this season. And if you'd asked us at the start of the season, I think I sat here and said that I would hope for 20 goals, and you would want 25 off of Danilo because he's the out-and-out number 9 kind of type. But Dessers has done fine. It's the rest of it. You know that he doesn't pass the eye test. You know that he's likely to take a difficult chance, deflected in off somebody else, and then miss the clearest ones himself. So, just let's hope that he can deflect one in tonight. Doesn't matter how it goes in, as long as he's going to do it. But the big man, listen, he's the nicest guy as well. He's so friendly, he speaks away. So I hope that he can go and do the business tonight, that's for sure. But I don't really see too many other changes, Derek, from that. I thought Silva looked okay on Saturday on the left-hand side. Bear in mind, the pitch was absolutely atrocious. The weather conditions were horrendous, and I thought he'd done fine. And I know it's Dumbarton and things, folks, that's no problem. But I remember I'm still scarred by Steven Gerrard's teams and coming back from winter breaks and stuff and completely shutting down in first cup games and things like that. So I was quite pleased with how we played on Saturday. I thought we'd done really well in terms of creating chances and using the right kind of passing and doing okay. We created a lot of chances. Obviously, we missed some because that's just the way we are at the moment. But I think if we can go with that same kind of attitude and performance tonight, then it'll really, really help us, that's for sure.
Yeah, Jeeb says, morning Jeeb says, is Balogun not suspended? No, if he's available for this game, I'm sure. It was just wasn't violent conduct is sending off at Parkhead, so it will be available. But Connor Goldson will be a big mister, there's no doubt about it. And of course, the manager updated us on Ben Davis. Who knows when we'll see Davis back in the reckoning as well. Stevie shakes his head. He was asked any timescales on Davis. No, for the moment not. It is short term, but the other guys are long term. Also, Ben is more shorter term. I cannot put a timescale on that. So who knows when we'll see Ben Davis back in the match day squad.
Eric, if you actually think about it, he said it's short term, but see by the time he actually comes back any point in the next couple of weeks or who knows when, could end up he's been out for the best part of 6 to 8 weeks. Easy. And that's not short term. For us, that's just the norm now. Whenever you don't hear about somebody picking up a knock and, Ryan Jack played 11 minutes and we didn't see him again for the best part of 2 months either. So this is what I was talking about. When you spend £3-4 million on guys, they have to be more robust than the Ben Davis situation where he's just, nowhere to be seen for months on end. So it's a big night for John Souttar as well. I think it's fair to say he's not at the best season. Even in the friendly moments, Derek, against Copenhagen, I thought that he was out-jumped too easily as well. Hibs have got a couple of new strikers. Their tails will be up. They're at home. We need to defend well. The good thing for us is they'll try and play. They'll not sit in. They'll not make us try and break down a low block. So it should actually be a very decent game. They'll come and try to play. So it's going to be interesting. But we certainly need a performance from John Souttar tonight.
Yeah, we'll have all the usual reaction from the game, folks. Joshua and Chris and Stevie's also heading over there to Leith tonight, where hopefully Rangers will be getting 3 points and closing the gap at the top of the Scottish Premiership table. So keep your eyes peeled for all the videos pre-match and post-match tonight. And I'll be back again tomorrow, where hopefully we're reporting on a scintillating Rangers performance and 3 points as well. Huge thanks to Stevie as ever, and huge thanks to everyone for interacting with the show. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you a little later on. Bye for now.